Hello, and welcome to Hawk Mountain Sanctuary's Stay at Home Speaker Series. Today's program is Guardians of the Indian Grasslands, Raptors, with Deven Mehta, Hawk Mountain Sanctuary Conservation Science Trainee from autumn 2019.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie.
Deven, I am so thrilled that you are joining us today. It's so wonderful to see you all the way from India. So my name is Jamie Dawson. I'm the Director of Education at Hawk Mountain Sanctuary, and we are thrilled that you are joining us today. As you may know, Hawk Mountain is the world's very first refuge for birds of prey, and we continue to work hard to be leaders in raptor conservation, science, and education locally and globally around the world. Hawk Mountain is a private nonprofit, and membership is the lifeblood of our organization. To all of our members, we extend much gratitude for your continued support. And if you're joining us today and you're not a member, we hope that you consider becoming one in the future. Hawk Mountain hopes that everyone remains safe and healthy during these times of COVID challenges, and we are thrilled to offer our global and local community a variety of free virtual programming. As always, Hawk Mountain greatly appreciates and depends on donations. Just so everyone is aware, today's program is being recorded. The video will then be accessible on Hawk Mountain's YouTube channel as a continued resource. We also have a link on our website directly connecting you to our YouTube channel. At any point during today's program, viewers may submit questions through the Q&A feature on the Zoom platform. We've designated time at the end of the program to take some questions from the audience. And we are beyond thrilled that Deven is joining us today all the way from India to share with us and teach us about the raptors of the Indian grasslands, the guardians of the grasslands. And before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to share some of Deven's background experience with our audience. Deven holds a Master of Science in Zoology with a focus on avian and wildlife biology. His graduate research focused on winter roosting of migratory harriers. Deven also has a Bachelor of Science in Zoology as well. He worked as project assistant at Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun, with the project Recovery of Dugongs and their habitats in India. Deven also completed an internship at Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun, where he worked on the project Habitat Improvement and Conservation Breeding of Great Indian Buzzard. In addition, Deven served as a junior research fellow at Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun, where he worked on the project Understanding the Amur Falcon, their stopover sites in Nagaland, and their migratory routes for better conservation planning. He was also a research assistant at the Center for Ecology Development and Research in Dehradun. Wow, what a wonderful background experience. Certainly, Deven, you're so passionate about wildlife and particularly birds. What inspired you to study raptors?
In my opinion, I can say inspiration comes from inside. So till today, I'm finding that what inspired me to study the raptors. Still, I'm struggling to find the answer. But yeah, certainly I can say that I'm from Bhavnagar, which is a small town in Gujarat, western part of the India. So I started visiting the surrounding areas, which are a little bit kind of urban wildlife. And then one day I got a chance to visit a grassland, which is just nearby to my home. And I was lucky enough to see the birds there, as well as the wildlife like black bucks and deers and lots of things, interacting with each other and interacting with nature's elements, and all those things ignited some kind of spark in my brain. And this is how I realized that, okay, whatever I want to be, I will do something with nature. I was not sure that I will do research or study, but still I'm interested into nature. And that's why I chose to be a researcher, because it is giving me an opportunity to answer these questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So Deven, how did you become connected with Hawk Mountain Sanctuary?
This story is very long, but I would like to make it concise. So when I was working in Nagaland, I met Mr. Scott Widensall, and he was there. He came for Amur Falcon. They wanted to see Amur Falcon roosting, and he came with some of his friend. We interacted with each other, and then after talking for probably after 1 or 2 hours, we discussed about Amur Falcons and Raptors and all those. Then he introduced me with the Hawk Mountain that he was working as a board member before a few years. So he told me that you should try to visit Hawk Mountain. And I asked that what could be the way and how can I visit? And this is how the story started. And it's still going on.
I love it. We are so glad. It was so wonderful working with you last fall. So one last question, Deven. How did your experience as a conservation science trainee at Hawk Mountain help you with your current work and studies in India now?
I would like to say there are two answers of these things, not only one. Yeah, so now one is a cultural benefit that a person just coming out of just trying to learn new things in their early career days. So what this kind of opportunity gives to any of trainee is they are giving more wide horizon to think. They are providing more opportunities to learn. And I was lucky enough to learn raptor banding, migration monitoring, as well as interaction with people from you and Rachel. So it was very I can say that it was very rewarding experience. And I think that it will help me in my future also, because I have lots of friends from different countries and different continents also. So after some time, I hope that we can do something bigger in a large picture, and we can complete global raptor conservation targets.
That would be fantastic. Well, we are thrilled to host you on this webinar today, and I'm excited to turn this presentation over to you, Deven, so that you can share your research and your experience about the grassland raptors of India with our audience. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. Yeah. So Jamie, is it visible?
Yes, it looks great.
Okay. Can let me know, is it working or not? Okay. So hello friends, namaste from India. And I would like to start my talk from here. Before I start, I would say that this talk is not more about science. It's about general thinking and what kind of birds are there and what is going on in India, especially with grasslands. So it will be kind of scientific, but not totally scientific. So I hope you will like it. Let's start. So guardians of the Indian grasslands. When we hear about India, what do you think? What it comes to your mind? The first thing, probably this, or something like this. But today's talk is just not about the culture and just a typical stereotypical identity of India. I would like to explain something which is already there, but still it needs more attention from the global conservationists as well as nature lovers. But where is the India? Before I start talking about India, we must know that where is the India? So here is the, can you see the pointer, Jamie?
Yes.
Pointer?
Yep.
Okay. So the round area is an Indian subcontinent, which has almost Bangladesh, Bhutan, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and India. These are the countries. And all these countries together are known as the Indian subcontinent because of the variety of different kind of cultures as well as. Hello.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. So India is a country, as well as when I'm talking about Indian subcontinent, I'm talking about this larger area which has lots of countries, the neighboring countries with the India. World's most populous democracy, So when I'm talking about world's most populous democracy, now I'm talking about India, the country. And there are 28 states and 8 union territories. So this is the background about India. Let's see the ecological side. So southern peninsular region of the Asia has perhaps the enormous array of the environment situations. So why India is diverse? So this line is explaining that India is diverse because of there are lots of geographical locations as well as physical features are there. There are different kind of climatic conditions, and all together are providing a great variety in the different habitats. So when I'm talking about habitat, it is a natural area. And luckily, India is situated on the particular place where 3 major biogeographic realms meet, and those are the Oriental, Palearctic, and Paleotropical. So this kind of geographical location is also providing a great opportunity to get more and more biodiversity. Yeah. So what about climate? So this kind of areas are there, but what about climate? What kind of climate is there? And the weather conditions across the India is totally different. If you go to western part of the India, from where I'm sitting right now, it's semi-arid or arid. And in summer, you will get 50 Celsius temperature also. Some days, not regularly, but in some days you will find a very high temperature. As well as if you go northern side of the India, then you can get sub-zero temperature or snow also. If you go to southern side of India, you'll get lots of coastlines and tropical environment. So this is how it is a mixture of various areas and various kind of geographical locations. So which provides a different kind of climate as well as microclimate activities. And I would like to add one more point that in northern side and northeastern side, I'm explaining you, I will explain you through a map also. So if you check the map, you will figure out that what kind of diversity and what kind of geographical features are there. And in terms of season, generally there are 4 seasons in India: winter, which is from January to February; summer, which is a hotter period, or you can say the temperature is very high in western part during summer. So that period is March, April, and May. Monsoon is a very unique phenomena just because of desert and very high mountain. It gives a unique summer monsoon in which you can experience this kind of monsoon during June, September. So what I'm talking about, I think now it will make sense that in general, if you want to understand what kind of biogeography are there, biogeography of India is there, then you can broadly divide those areas into some similar like areas and similar kind of structures. So these are the biogeographical classifications, and these are the different zones. So today's talk is about this area, as well as this area also. I'm not going to talk about this area because it's a forest area, and today's talk is about open grassland kind of areas. These are the Himalayas, so it's a very high hilly range, and these are the Trans Himalayas, which is beyond the Himalayas, which is acting as a barrier, and this is how the very harsh wind is not entering from China and Tibet and to the India. So this is how this range, the number 2, can you see the brownish color? So this mountain range is providing some kind of safeguard, and this is the unique feature of unique type of biogeographical structure of India. So India, just because of this kind of, as you can see, there are lots of natural areas which have different kind of climate and different kind of geography. So just because of that, you can find a lots of diversity in plants, fishes, amphibians, mammals, and there are, so in terms of governance, if you see, There are almost 101 national parks and more than 551 existing wildlife sanctuaries. So this is how we can say that India is very well biodiverse country. But all is this, after knowing all these things, what about the current topic? Why I'm not talking about it yet? So what is the question? What about birds? Man, you are talking about India and you are talking about biogeography, but what about birds? So now your answer is there. There are more than 1,330 species of birds in various habitats, which is about 13% of the world. So you can imagine, this is the, I think this photograph has only 300 birds and 1,000 birds are still missing somewhere. I couldn't arrange the photograph. So this is the photograph which is explaining that which kind of biodiversity and which kind of species diversity, species richness is there of India. And out of this 1,330 species, there are 70 species of diurnal raptors and nocturnal raptors are around 36. So I'm using nearly or around because I'm not sure about the number. It could be 1 or 2 plus or 1 or 2 minus. So pardon me for that. So this is extremely difficult task to pack everything in a 1 hour. And I was trying to explain this. I was trying to convince myself that how can I explain these things to various people who are ready to hear about lots of Indian birds and which bird I should pick up and which bird I should not explain them or which bird I should explain them. So I was very confused. And then I thought that let's talk about this. So I think some of you are familiar with this background and some of you might not be. So this is the grassland of Africa. Am I right? Jamie, can you hear it?
It looks pretty African to me.
Yeah, so this is Africa. But what if I say to you that this kind of background is already there in India too? So many people will think that, okay, it could be possible. Many people will think that, okay, it is nowhere. There are lots of grassland maps, but India is not showing that kind of amount of grassland in the particular maps of grasslands. Yeah, so today's talk about this kind of grasslands and the avifauna, raptors, which are living in this kind of grasslands. So this is the photograph of one sanctuary, wildlife sanctuary of India, which is known as the Untitled Chapter. It clicked by me. And these are the several images of birds who lives there. And this is their home. And today's talk is guardians of the grassland, raptors. Glimpses of grassland, arid land, farmland raptors of the Bharat. So Bharat, I was thinking that either I should add Bharat or not, but Bharat is a historical name before the Britishers came. So I put Bharat because we are talking about, we will talk about a little bit of history of grasslands also. That's why I kept there. What is grassland? So grassland is, in easy words, if we want to understand what is grassland, it is an area which is dominated by herbaceous or shrub vegetations, which is not very tall. And generally it is maintained by fire or animal grazing or drought or freezing temperatures. So these are the natural phenomena. If you can see such kind, if you have seen some kind of documentaries in National Geographic, you might have seen that there are lots of wildebeest or zebras are eating those grasses, or there are natural fires in jungles. So these are the factors which are regulating the grassland. And this is how you will not find lots of trees and high bushes there. So this kind of natural areas are grassland. Grassland have many names, but after all, grassland is a grassland. So these are the local names. I must say that it is not a scientific classification, but in North America, people used to pronounce it prairies, in Asian steppes and savannas, wells in Africa, and Australia and Southern American countries have different names for the grasslands. And today's my talk is about tropical and subtropical grasslands and their raptors. So this kind of area have generally, they receive 90 to 150 centimeters rainfall per year. So it is not very much. So this is how the rain is also controlling the growth of grass as well as the ecosystem. So savanna. So as I told you that the grasslands in Africa are savannas, and people are very familiar with savanna kind of grassland. They are familiar with the cheetahs running after the any kind of herbivore, and this kind of grasslands are also there in India. But there are some reasons just because of that we are still not aware about those Asian savanna grasslands. And it is geographically as well as, I must say, it was a little bit political also in history. And the grasslands largely are generally, you can say, savanna kind of grasslands are not a continuous grassland and not it's a shrubland. So it's a mixture. So you can say it's a kind of mixture of dotted trees in a long grass layer. So this kind of grassy areas are known as savannas. And Asian savannas have been grossly misunderstood for the reason there are biological as well as historical. So as I told that biogeographically, India is not situated in such areas. So people never focused on Asian or the South Asian grasslands. And in history, the colonial era was focusing more focused on getting benefit of woods, because the forestry practices were more oriented towards getting industrial benefits and wood harvesting. So that's why the grassland were considered as a degraded land or degraded habitat. But actually it was a different kind of forest, which was a connecting link between any kind of transition zone. So instead of just wasteland or a degraded habitat, grasslands are globally significant stopover sites, wintering grounds, breeding grounds for some, not for all, but for some birds. And the migratory and resident birds like falcon, kites, eagles, vultures, owls, buzzards, hawk, and harriers. So the grassland is not just a piece of wasteland or degraded habitat. I must say it's a home of lots of raptors and other birds and mammals also. So this is the general visualization of open habitat. Open habitat is also not a scientific term. It's a cumulative term for all kind of broad open lands. So you can see that this is the northern Indian part of Ladakh, which is in the Himalayan range. This is grassland in the West India. This is also a kind of grass because it's a seasonal wetland. So after some time, when the monsoon goes away and winter starts, the water is drying. And after February, you will not find even a single drop of water in this kind of wetland. So it becomes a grassland. And so they are a kind of seasonal wetland, but still they are connecting link, neither grassland, but still they are open. So I have considered them as an open habitat. This is the empty land. So people are using barren land, but still it is a home of several small passerine birds and larks. And these are the different kind of grasslands. And these two are not grasslands, they are farms. But can you see this photo that the grass is still this point, and just after 1 feet or 2 feet, you will find the crops. It's a kind of wheat, similar kind of, sorry, it's not wheat, it's a sorghum. So this is how the grassland and farmlands are merged together. So when we are talking about grassland raptors, we have to think about wetland raptors also. We have to think about farmland raptors also. And we have to think about some barren lands also, because it's not a different unit. And in my personal opinion, in the open, we need a policy which can deal with this kind of open habitats together instead of focusing on one particular grassland. So from here onwards, I will use open habitats for all these areas. So what are the raptors? Raptor are birds of prey. I think many of you are knowing this word, raptare. and it is a Latin word. So that means to seize away or to carry away. So it's a kind of rapacious behavior and killing something forcefully and eating that. So that kind of meaning in rapare, to seize away, seize and carry away, is meaning of raptor word. And generally raptors are used for all birds of prey. But here there are two different kind of orders. So it's a kind of group, and falconiforms are the diurnal raptors. So they are active during days, and hawk, eagle, falcons, vultures, and their related birds are active during days, and they are generally known as the diurnal birds. And we are using raptor more for those birds. And for strigiforms, they are nocturnal. They are active during night or early morning or evening. So during this period, they are active, and that's why they are known as a nocturnal birds. But we are not including those raptors into diurnal raptors. And generally in raptor term, we can use it for both, for falconiforms, diurnal or nocturnal. But as of now, we are taking raptor for falconiforms also, only falconiforms, because I'm talking about hawk, eagle, vultures, and harriers. So adaptations, what kind of adaptations they have to live in this kind of areas? So you can see the hook bill is there and sharp cutting edge. So there is a term for this kind of notch. So if you, by the way, this is the photo. This photo was taken from Cape May Bending Observatory when we went for bending station tour from Hawk Mountain. And just because of that tour, we were able to see the peregrine falcon from this kind of angle and very near to you. So that's why I was able to see the tomial tooth. Tomial tooth. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right. And it is a notch, basically a notch kind of structure in the beak, which bird uses for killing a prey. Generally, they use this notch to break the vertebral column, or they are just using it for tearing a flesh from the prey. And another kind of adaptations, another kind of adaptation is nasal baffles. So what kind of this adaptation is? So they have a conical shape in their beak, and it's a kind of bone which allows them to dive very quickly. So this is very falcon specific feature, nasal baffle. So this kind of adaptations is allowing them to dive very quickly. So if they don't have nasal baffles, then what will happen to them? They will directly take too much air during diving when they are just diving on some prey. So the peregrine falcons are very quick, and just because of very high pressure of air, they can damage their respiratory tract. So this kind of nasal baffles are helping them to prevent those kind of damages. Sharp talons, as you can see that this is the marsh harrier, and you can see the talons are there. They are very sharp to grab the prey. And facial ruff. So the roundish disc shaped area, you can see this in specific birds like a harrier or owls. So why they have this kind of adaptation, why they have this kind of feature in their body? So they are getting more sensitivity towards sound. So generally what owls are doing or harriers are doing, they are finding their prey somewhere running in the grass. So the prey has a lot more capability to hide somewhere or run away. So that's why they are using this kind of facial ruff to hear the sound done by the prey. So this adaptation helps owls and harriers to hear those kind of sounds. Another great adaptation of the raptor is the sharp vision. So this is the speciality of the raptors. And raptors are tetrachromates, so they can see UV also. I was not knowing this when I was preparing for this lecture, and then I realized that, okay, this is the point. The common kestrel, there is a one study in Nature, I forgot the name of authors, I'm sorry for that. And that paper says that they did an experiment with common kestrel in Europe, and then they figured out that common kestrel can see ultraviolet light or the tracks left by their prey or the small mammals. Another adaptation within the eyes is a fovea. So it's a special kind of structure where they have high number of sensory cells. One more protection for eyes is, hello, yeah. So one more protective gear is the nictitating membrane. So this is how they are saving their eyes from quick damage when they are jumping on their prey. Photoreceptors and pectins. Pectin is a special kind of structure, and it helps them to make their vision very sharp. So this is how falcon or an eagle can see anything from a very high elevation, and they can easily jump on their prey. And supraorbital ridge is also for protection of eye. It's a kind of bone just outside the eye, just like our eyebrows. It is present in peregrine falcon. But what I'm talking about, and why are the raptors? Why we should think about raptors? So raptors are somewhere related to us. They give us inspiration. They give us imagination. They give us a freedom. So this kind of qualitative things we are getting from the raptors, as well as raptors are associated with each and every civilization in one or other form. Somewhere it is being somewhere it is a kind of they have status of deity, or somewhere they are evil, or they are kind of notorious bird. And in some cultures and some histories, they are very glorified, just like in Sanatan Dharma, popularly known as a Hindu Dharma. Or there are the stories of Jatayu in Ramayana. So Jatayu was we are believing, people are believing that it could be a lemurgear vulture. So it is a story that when a king of Ayodhya went to Sri Lanka to save her wife, one vulture tried to save her wife because it was being kidnapped by one king of Sri Lanka, which was not very good. And his intentions were not good, and he was taking his wife away from that Rama. So here the Jatayu came Jatayu came as a hero, tried to save a girl. So this kind of stories are there in Sanatan Dharma, and unfortunately I don't have a photograph of it, but this is how it is related. It is somewhere in the daily routine of the people's mindset. And Garuda also, because there are lots of deities in Sanatan Dharma or Hinduism, and the Garuda is believed to be a vehicle of God or deity, Shri Vishnuji. So this is how lots of stories are there in ancient India's. They have very different kind of stories related to different birds. They have very minute observations, and from Hinduism we shift to Parsis. So Parsi is a community which came from Iran few hundred years ago, and they settled in India. And they are very friendly community, and they have one ritual. It is known as a Tower of Silence. Why? This is a place, and after one person die, what they do, they put that body into this tower. It's a kind of circular open structure. They put their relatives dead body in this kind of tower, and slowly vultures feed them. So this is how they are thinking that the body will become a part of nature. So this is also a kind of ritual, and it is connected to birds and raptors especially. Similar kind of sky burial ritual. I'm not very sure about the details of the sky burial ritual, but similar kind of practices are being done by Tibetans. So what they do, people, when people dies or some relative die in their home, they put their body somewhere on the mountain, and slowly the vultures or carcass eater or other birds or some animals eat them. So this is how they become a part of nature. And this is the you can see the cultural background of the raptors. So this is how it gives you some kind of inspiration, imagination, as well as freedom. This could be a story, this could be a history. It's a different debate topic, but it's interesting. And when Mughal dynasty was there in India, approximately 400 to 500 years ago, there was a king named Akbar. So it was a time when the falconry sport reached to its peak, and he was very fond of falconry. So that's why the Mughal king tried to invest more and more time in falconry, and this is how the falconry or the taming raptors became very popular during Mughal era. Yep. So this was the history and why raptors. So this is the answer for cultural reasons. That these are the belief systems in different religions or different societies or different areas. They have some kind of attachment with raptors in Indian subcontinent or India country. But as ecological point of view, if we see that why the raptors are important, or why the raptors, not only not other birds. So it is somewhere on the pinnacle of the food chain. So just like a tiger or lion or any big animal which is sitting on the top of the food chain, this is also acting as a uh, regulator in the ecosystem. So they are the indicators of the ecosystems, and this is how, if we can find that okay, there is something wrong with this particular species of raptors, you can easily understand that there is something wrong at the baseline also, because it is a chain, and if you see the last part of the chain is not working well, you can easily make out that there is something wrong in the whole circle. There are some raptors which are eating dead bodies of the animals, so they are nature's health worker too. So this is how they keep us safe from the decaying animals and lots of diseases. But this is the importance of raptor, and we know that these are the raptors are important for us, and they are helping us by this way. But what about them? So they need to survive, and for survival, many of them have to migrate. For what? Because the conditions where they are living or breeding or just visiting that area for food is not suitable more enough. Could be seasonal change, or could be scarcity of food. So these are the reasons, main reasons, and just because of these reasons, they are trying to shift and migrate from one place to another. So when do they migrate? Why do they migrate? Okay, it's a kind of survival. But for survival, when do they migrate? So different species of raptor, different type of bird has a different kind of timing. Just like if you are familiar with the Hawk Mountain migration count, I can give an example that in earlier you can see different kind of birds, and later you will see that lots of eagles are coming, bald eagles and are coming, and by the time those broadwing hawks already left this area. So this kind of different timings are there, and each species has their own clock. So according to their need, they shift. There are generally, these are the major migratory pathways, and we can consider them as an highway of the birds. So just like us, they are getting the direction and they are moving from one place to another by using this highways, generally known as a flyways. And India is somewhere in between the East Asia, East Africa, Central Asia, and East Asia, Australia. So you can see that here is India, and there are three different migratory pathways overlapping over this India. So this is how it is very important place for birds also, because different birds are passing through, either coming for winter or just passing through. So this is a very unique area which has overlapping of the flyways. So, okay. we understood that these are the importance of the raptors and why we need raptors, but how to identify those raptors? And especially when you are starting just learning about raptors, how can you figure out that which raptor was which and how can I study them? So there are simple ways, and thank you, Hawk Mountain, for this. When I was a trainee, our class was taken by David, and uh, also there was a weekend program, and in weekend program we were doing this kind of activities, the name the raptor. So you can see that there are different kind of shapes of the raptors, and from shape, if you can figure out that what kind of shape is there, you can find the group of raptors, not a species, but at least you can narrow down till the group, that either it is a falcon, accipiter, buteo, harrier, osprey, or eagle. So it depends on size. If you can't see the color, it's fine. If you generally when you see a raptor, it is very far away from you. If you don't have right optical gears, then even though if you have very high-end optical gears, you won't be able to see each and every raptors. So this is the way you can easily make out that what kind of raptor it was, and you can put it into a different basket of a different group. So first, if you see the raptor, you can figure out where you have seen that bird, what kind of area or what kind of natural environment is in surrounding. Then what kind of shape or what was the size of the bird, whether it was small like a falcon or bigger like an eagle, what kind of behavior is there. So sometime what happens that just because of natural conditions, you will not be able to figure out that what bird it is. As generally what we can say that if you want to identify an osprey, then you just look at the M shape, wing shape is identity for the osprey flight. But just because of several wind conditions, other birds are doing similar kind of wing shapes also. So at that time, you have to understand the behavior, because the distance, wind, or several factors can affect your identification. So also behavior is helping. And in terms of Indian bird, what can I say that we have two kind of kestrels in India. One is common kestrel or European kestrel, or lesser kestrel. So lesser kestrel is just a passage migrant, so it is not stopping for long period in India. And this kind of birds have different behaviors. In field, it is nearly difficult to identify them if you are observing those birds from distance. But if you are observing their behavior, then you can figure out that, okay, this is not a size, but this is the behavior. Okay, this is the more, this bird is more territorial, and this bird is more tend to stay in a group. So a bird which is staying in a 2, 3, or a small group could be a lesser kestrel, because they are migrating in a small groups sometimes also. And also their perch and posture is helping you to identify those birds. How that bird is sitting on where they are sitting, as well as how they are sitting. So if a bird sitting on a full height of electric pylon, or if you can say if you are passing on a road and you have seen one eagle type of bird, which is very large in a shape, but it is sitting on some electric wires, then how can you identify? So just make a guess that where it is sitting. And somewhere some eagles or some raptors have different kind of behavior tendency. So if you observe osprey is somewhere near to wetland, then you will find that osprey always prefer to sit at the top. And if you are visiting some Indian wetland, and if you find that, okay, this is the bird, and it is sitting somewhere on the ground, but it is not going near to any kind of height, or it is not sitting on any tree, then chances are that you are looking at the harrier. So this is how you can figure out how the bird can be identified, even though if you cannot see properly. This is another trick of identification, or another way of identification, topography of the raptors. So when you figure out that what kind of group of bird is there, you have to go in detail. And how can you identify that particular bird? or that species, that exactly which bird you have seen. So these are the feather structures, and then they are known as the primary. So if you see a bird from upwards, it will look like this. And if you see the bird from ventral side, from the chest side, and you will see that something like this if you spread the wing of the raptor. And these are the primaries, these are the secondaries. You can see there are coverts just about the secondary and primary. There are different covers, greater, median, and lesser. And there are tail feathers also. So these are the very important indicators. If you have narrowed down it to the group, okay, that you have seen some kind of eagle, but which eagle you have seen? So this kind of this features of secondary and primaries, mental, and the feather appearance will help you to find out that what bird it was. There are different heads, and these are the vulture, this is a falcon, and this is the an eagle. Yeah, so today's talk, I'm planning to talk more about harriers, and it will be a general talk. It will not be a totally scientific talk. So these are the species we can find in India. So many of them are coming as a winter visitor. The pallid harrier is there, the pied harrier is there, Montague harrier is there, eastern and western marsh both are coming, and hen harrier is there. So this is the variety of harriers we have as a winter visitors, except the pied harrier, because there were scattered records and in Brahmaputra valleys. So probably they are breeding somewhere there, but it's a kind of scattered records, not regular observations are there. This is the image of harrier, and the harriers are coming to congregate in a large number in the grasslands. So why they are coming to India? The question is there. As I said, that bird needs to migrate to survival. Either they don't get enough food where they are breeding there or living there. Either they are not getting favorable environmental conditions. That is the reason they are coming to India. From where they are coming, it's still a mystery, and I would like to solve that mystery. And the photograph you are looking at, it's the world's largest roosting ground. Somewhere near the pointer, you can see thousands of harriers sitting in this grass, and this is the Blackbuck National Park. Fortunately, I'm living just 25 or 30 miles away from this location. And according to this authors, Roger Clark, Vibhu Prakash, and many others, this area, the Blackbuck National Park, is the world's largest winter roost site, or the winter congregation site of the harriers. Harriers, when I say roost, what does it mean? Roost is just sleeping. They are sleeping there. And this is the place where they usually come to sleep. They don't go anywhere else. So this is a traditional roosting site of the harriers. And there are similar kind of 5 roost sites are there in India, but this is the biggest, the Blackbuck National Park. And why do they need to roost communally? So they are coming together, they are sitting in the grass, but why? What is the reason? What are they getting from that? So there are some hypotheses as well as a few facts are there, and according to them, a reduction in thermoregulation demands. So when they are sitting in the grass, they get protection from the winds, because the grass is equally, the grass height is around 1 meter, so they can easily sit between the grass, and the wind will not hit them directly. When they are sitting in a group, one can look around with more accuracy. So when you are sitting in a group or sleeping in a large area together, you can act as a community, and you can oppose, or you can save yourself from the predators. an increase in the foraging efficiency. Because this is, I'm not very sure about this reason, but it was said by Buchamp in 1999 that this can be also a reason, and by meeting each other, they can figure out, or by following each other, they can figure out that on which way we can get more food. And these are the Harriers. I would not explain you a very detailed identification, but in general terms, we will understand that what kind of Harriers are there. But before we understand that, we'll go back 1 and 2 slide. Yeah, and we will see the status, that population trend. What are they? Either they are doing well in the environment or not. So this information was taken from IUCN red data list, and you can see that there is only one Harrier, Eastern Marsh Harrier, is very stable. So we can say that, okay, it's a kind of, they are not getting, they are not going, they are not declining and they are not increasing. But the Western Marsh Harrier is increasing a little bit. So what could be the reason? And other Harriers are decreasing over the period of time. The global population is decreasing. What could be the reason? Before we solve that mystery, we will go back to the identification. So this is the photograph taken from the book. This is Grimmett and Inskip, written by Grimmett and Inskip. And you can see there are 3 species here. One is Montague, one is Pallid, one is Hen. And these are the adults. So you can figure out, you will certainly ask that, okay, when we look at the females of all Harriers, it looks similar, and it is difficult to identify. Yeah, I agree with you. But when we look at the male, we will get several signs of identification. Just like a Montague Harrier, you can see the brownish patches near the underwing coverts, and if you see the flight movement, you can figure out that, okay, Montague male has a very unique wing patterns with dots and streaks of brownish red color or brick red color. Whereas when you see the Hen Harrier or Pallid Harrier, you won't find any similar kind of structures. So this is the easiest adult to identify out of the all Harriers. And when you see towards Pallid and Hen, you will see there is a minor difference between the wing pattern. Both of them have a black hand. When I say hand, they are the primaries, and the Pallid male has a wedge shape. It is not a full black. You can see the cut here. It is not going beyond this line. And when you see a Hen Harrier male, you will find that, okay, the whole hand, the primaries, outer primaries are black. So this is the minor difference. And in field, it will be difficult to identify. And Hen Harrier is a very less, I can say that they are coming to India, but very few in numbers. The major population of Harriers, they are coming in winter during just after the August till the February. So probably they will start coming just after this month to India. And these are the Harriers. These are the females of these Harriers. And Montague is highest in the number who come to India. There are Pallid Harriers also, and Hen are comparatively very less, but still occasionally in fewer numbers, they are coming to India for wintering. Montague Harriers' diet is insects. So they are just focusing on locusts or small insects. So they are helping farmers to get rid of the pest as a natural pesticide. And Pallid Harrier is a little bit bigger. You can see the size of both Harriers. It is not up to the scale, but Pallid Harrier is comparatively bigger than Montague. So Pallid Harrier is mostly focusing on the bird. They are also eating insects and other things, but they are trying to eat birds as much as they can. So that's why they have different flight also. Montague Harrier is flying very slowly, whereas the Pellet Harrier is flying very rapidly to chase the birds. And the Hen Harrier, you can say it is a heavier bird, just like a pellet, but hen harrier, I haven't seen it yet in the field, so I would not be able to comment on their feeding. But the literature and all those information says that hen harrier diet is made up of birds and other things. Fortunately, I got some photos from Oriental Bird website, and this is the pellet. You can see the distinct feature of the pellet, the whitish male. This is the adult male. The unique feature of the pellet harrier is the ring, and you can find the trailing edge under the wing. So these are two features which can easily explain that this bird is a female of pellet harrier. And when you see a young bird, young pellet harrier, then you can see the roughest part and brownish upper parts with the collar. So this is the easiest way to identify the hen harrier. Other species of the harriers are there also. Eurasian marsh harrier, one of the most common harrier found during winter in the India, and they are coming by the end of August or somewhere in mid-August, and they stay in India till March, and they are generally found near the wetland areas. They are trying to get they generally what they feed is birds, wetland birds. So you will generally see this bird trying to chasing any kind of water bird like a Eurasian coot, or sometimes they are eating cranes also. And this kind of bird generally you will see near the wetlands. So it is also an open habitat, and if you see a bird this larger harrier, this is the larger harrier compared to Montague, Pellet, and Hen. This harrier has a large size, and this is the male of Eurasian marsh harrier. This is the female of Eurasian marsh harrier. So you can easily make out that the wing coloration of the primaries, as well as the body shape are different. The size also are different, and the male is more brighter than the female. Female has a chocolatey brown color, and it has a distinct white part on the face. Uh, Eastern Marsh Harrier and Pied Harrier are not a regular winter visitor in the Western India, but if you go towards eastern part of the India, you will see occasional visitor as a Eastern Marsh Harrier. So you can say the Eastern Marsh Harrier is a rare visitor of the India because generally they are not visiting. But several records are there from southern parts of India also. And Pied Harrier is believed to breeding in Brahmaputra Valley. So Brahmaputra is a river, and Brahmaputra Valley is in the eastern part of the India. So there were several records of breeding this bird, but it is not a continuous breeding records. Another bird I would like to tell apart from the harriers is a common kestrel. So it is bird, a small bird like a pigeon size, and they are also grassland visitors, winter visitors. They generally come by the end of August, and they stay for whole winter in India. They are very specialized birds to hover. So this has a different kind of flight. So if you see a bird continuously flying like an helicopter and staying somewhere on the air and continuously flapping their wings, but it is not shifting their position. So this kind of hovering is being done by this bird, and generally they hover for looking for the prey. And when they finalize that, okay, this is my target, they just hit the target and they get it from the ground. So this is a smaller bird, but a different kind of flight pattern is there, and they have different hunting strategy compared to harriers. Harriers are slow flying birds. They have very buoyant flight. They are just flying near to just few meters above the ground. So they can easily see as well as they can easily hear the prey. And the kestrels are flying very, you can say a few meters above the ground as well as few, more than 50 meters also. So you can see a kestrel flying a few meters above the ground as well as a few 100 meters also. So this is the these are the two examples which I wanted to explain through this presentation, that these are the grassland birds. They have different kind of foods, they have different kind of lifestyle, different size, and these are two different groups but still living in the same open habitat. They have uh, niche sharing, they have some invisible sharing between both of them, and they are living in the wide open habitat. But when I say this kind of habitat is under threat, people will say that okay, there is, there could be, there could not be. Why you are saying this? So these are the reasons why the open habitats or grasslands or farmlands associated areas like wetland, grassland, wetland mixture, or the mosaic of wetland, grassland, and open lands are day by day changing by humans. We are looking at the empty land to develop some kind of infrastructure or building or roads or something else. And countries like India and other developing countries have to develop because they don't have infrastructure to in every part of the country. They have in some parts, but not each state is well equipped. That's why they are developing. So it's a very difficult condition to figure out what could be the in between and what could be the solution of habitat loss. But still, we have to think about the threats of this bird, and open grasslands and changing pattern of the land use is one of the reason. And just because of this, they are losing their home, because once they are coming in this winter and they are eating lots of insects, they are going back to breed somewhere in the European countries, and some are going back to the Central Asian countries. We are not sure about harriers, but there were several attempts done by BNHS or Mr. Dr. T. Ganesh from Ashoka Trust in Bangalore. So from their efforts, they could figure out that some harriers are coming from somewhere from Central Asia, and they are still working on that. Other reasons, so when they go back to home, next year they will plan again to come in India or the wintering grounds, and what they see that okay, there is no home, there is not a grassland, there is not a wetland, and what they will find, a huge building or huge road is being constructed by someone. So these are the habitat loss issues, and day by day the roosting sites as well as the grasslands are decreasing. Decreasing availability of resources just because of they are not having their home. There is no habitat, that means they will not get the food, and after at the end they are coming for the nutrition, for the survival, and they cannot get enough nutrition. So we can say that this kind of condition can lead, it is not necessary, but it can be possible that that bird who is coming to wintering ground will not be able to go back ever. Pesticide and poison is a different kind of issue in India. In Africa, people put bait for vultures because of some rituals or some beliefs. But in India, it's generally unintentional poisoning. Some farming products, as well as there was a diclofenac drug which caused extremely huge loss. India lost almost 90% of the vulture population, and just because of one drug, diclofenac. And in 2006, Indian government banned that drug. And fortunately, if I'm not mistaking, it is 2006. But around 2006, this decision was taken by the government of India, and diclofenac, which was given to some veterinary, which was given by some veterinary doctors to several cows and buffaloes, were being stopped. And just because of this, slowly we are recovering the vulture population, and there are lots of government institutions as well as Bombay Natural History Society is associated with this work, and they are doing very good job. So we have hope that possibly we will recover the vulture population within next few decades. One is human pressure. So environmental degradation done by human direct pressure as well as indirect pressure. So the habitat loss is direct, as well as lots of people are living nomadic life, and they are grazing, they are utilizing free grasses. So they overgraze, and their cattle overgraze that area, and just because of that, the natural grassland cannot grow with the speed, and this is how we lose our grasslands. Grass cuttings and disturbance, power lines are other issues. And power lines also, it is not for all raptors, but it is harmful for saker falcons and other birds, like larger birds also. So these are the general threats, and it is not only in India, but in every developing country, you will find either one of them. So now, what is the current situation after this threat? If we know this threat, what are we doing now? So because of this historical and biogeographical reasons, still India is struggling to find out that, not whole India, but the governing body is somewhere in between the in between position, that they are not taking grassland as a forest. In some areas they are taking like Terai region or the Himalayan foothills, they are taking grassland as a natural habitat, but in western areas they are considering open or grassland as a opportunity to develop something. So according to one study done by ATRI, there was a decline of 1 to 9% in the grasslands, and it's a kind of semi-arid savanna grasslands. Just because of this, population of great Indian bustard, lesser floricon, and steppe eagles. So these are the great Indian bustard and lesser floricons are not raptors, but they are grassland specialist birds. And just because of that, they need grassland. And with the rapid loss of grassland, all of a sudden, large decline was observed in these two species of the birds. And then steppe eagles also, because they are winter visitors. So slowly this kind of changes, just because of these changes, government are taking actions right now, and we are hoping that slowly the attention will, the issue will get more attentions, and public will speak more about the grasslands. They will try to conserve the grassland, and they will think that this is not a wasteland or the opportunity to grow trees, because it is a just a barren land. We should grow trees there. People have to understand that this is also a different kind of forest, and they have different kind of animals living in this area. So here I would like to stop my presentation, because it's an ongoing story. It's not an end. We are somewhere in between. The policies are changing. Right now, government of India is doing very well with the Great Indian Bustard captive breeding program. They are monitoring lesser florical population also, but still the efforts are for raptors are not up to the mark. They are there. There are several projects are there, but it's not enough. In my personal opinion, government as well as people have to give more attention to this kind of conservation, and they have to understand what are the open habitats, what are the raptors, and why both need each other for betterment of society. So this is the point where I would like to conclude this talk. And Jamie.
Thank you, Deven. That was
Thank
such
you.
an amazing presentation. You're a wealth of knowledge, and your passion is abundant. So thank you so much for sharing. Did you
Thank you very much.
want to say anything else on this last slide?
Oh, it's just a thank you, nothing else.
Well, and we are thanking you. It was an amazing presentation. And I just want to tell you, Deven, we had several comments in the chat during your presentation from people all over the world, from Nepal to the United States, just saying thank you for this opportunity. And some of your former fall 2019 trainees are watching and they say hello. We do have some questions, Deven, so I'm going to send them to you. Question, when we were just talking about the threats to raptors, is raptor persecution an issue for raptors in India, such as shooting and trapping?
Luckily, it is not there. It was there. And I was a part of that project also, the Amur Falcon project, where people used to hunt thousands of falcons within a day. And I was fortunate enough to work in that project. It was a project of Wildlife Institute of India. And I worked with them and I realized that, okay, within a span of 3 years, just 3 years, not a longer period. So people who was hunting 1,000 falcons in a day, now he is a protector of that land. If you go with gun, he will fine you. So this is the change. It was there in northeastern India or some parts of India. They have tradition of hunting, but it is not a kind of large scale hunting. It could be for self-sustainable use. So this is how it could be. I cannot say that it is totally 100%. It is not there, but it could be 1 or 2% possibly.
Thank you. So we have another question from Zoe Benerbo, who you may recall, a former trainee. Hi, Zoe. Do you know if increases in natural disasters like monsoons and flooding in India may be affecting grassland raptor populations?
It is. And if you have observed that trend, I told you that Western Marsh Harrier is increasing. This is a hypothesis. This is kind of a thinking. It is not a scientific, and it is just a personal view that just because of increasing level of wetland or fluctuating level of wetland, you can see more Western Marsh Harriers. That's why the trend is going up. So you can assume that this could be the possibility, but just because of this kind of environmental problems, other birds are getting affected, as well as grasslands are also getting affected. But in western part, we are not getting floods frequently. It is a natural phenomena in eastern part, so it is possible that the grasslands, but they have different kind of grasslands also. They in eastern part, they have natural flood plains, and the grasses are used to grow in this kind of floods. So it is a study. I think, Zoe, you should come to India. We would like to study this.
Yes, and I actually, I kind of picked up on some ecotourism. I took a little note, Black Buck National Park, world's largest winter roost site of harriers. Is there ecotourism in that area? Do people come there to see that?
Yeah, it is. But what generally happens when we talk about birds, people are more interested into larger animals, because Black Buck National Park is also, you will find thousands of black bucks. It's a kind of antelope. So when thousands of black bucks are jumping in front of you, you will not focus on one bird. And also they have wolves also, gray wolves. So when a wolf is chasing one rapidly running antelope, you won't think about a bird which is flying few yards away from you.
Unless it's a Hawk Mountain tour group, then the Hawk Mountain group will be like, look at the bird. No, but thank you for sharing that. It sounds like a beautiful, wonderful place to visit. More people are coming in on the chat saying thank you. Dr. Tulsi Subedi from Nepal saying thank you. One more question, Deven, to wrap it up. I was really fascinated when you were talking about the advantages of the harriers doing the communal roosting sites. Are there other species besides the harriers that do large communal roosting sites in India that you know of?
Sorry, can you please repeat? The line was breaking, so I was not able to hear.
Oh, no problem. It was fascinating learning about the advantages of having communal roosting sites with the harriers. Are there other species of raptors in India that also practice large communal roosting sites.
Yeah, the Amur falcon is one of them, and it's a small duration. Within 1.5 months, you will find millions of falcon sitting on a single tree. Probably you might have seen the photograph from Lanso, our previous trainee. Yeah. So it is in. I've seen two communal roosting. One is in Amur falcon, is the eastern end of the India, and one in the westernmost part of the India. So there are two examples in India. It could be more because I am totally new to this field, and possibly that I have done lots of mistakes also. It could be, but there are lots of raptor species. As I say, there are cumulatively more than 100 raptor species. So possibility are there.
Thank you so much, Deven. And you do not appear to be new in this field at all. I'm telling you, I learned so many things from you in this presentation. So thank you so much. To all of our wonderful audience from all over the world, thank you for joining us for Deven's presentation. It means so much to us. We hope that you come back to visit us soon at Hawk Mountain. We would love to see you there again, Deven. And did you want to say something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I just want to confess that unfortunately the final presentation got corrupted, and this is not actual presentation what I wanted to deliver. So this is a secondary presentation which was not in plan. Just few minutes ago, this presentation came into the picture, and thank you for appreciating my random effort. And thank you very much. If you find some kind of factual mistakes or something, please do write me or tell them. I would like to receive positive criticism also. So most welcome, and please correct me if I'm speaking something wrong. Please correct me. Thank you.
Deven, you did no apology necessary. You did phenomenal, and that's why our presentation started a little late, just because there was some technical challenges, and that is life. And Deven, you adapted marvelously. So I'm amazing you were able to quickly at the last minute kind of alter your presentation, but it was phenomenal. Lots of positive comments from the audience. So thank you so much. To our audience, our trails are open, and check out our calendar of events on our Hawk Mountain website. We do have on-site programming with social distancing, so check out what's coming up on our calendar of events. Also, as always, we always have more virtual programs coming your way soon. So this is what's in store virtually for Zoom webinars. Okay, next week, Wednesday, August 5th, we have invasive insects and bad biters at 1:00 p.m. with Kyle Schutt of the Schuylkill Conservation District. Next Friday, August 7th, we have basic birding skills with Holly Merker at 4:00 p.m. And then on Wednesday, August 12th, we have reading sign and tracking wildlife with Dan Lynch of the Pennsylvania Game Commission at 1:00 p.m. Thursday, August 13th, sanctuary story time. Are you a spider at 11:00 a.m. And then Friday, August 15th, mapping our knowledge on raptor population genetics with Marianne Goosey at 4:00 p.m. Thank you everyone so much. Thank you, Deven. And I also have to give a shout out to Deven's mom, who is a phenomenal cook. I had the opportunity to try some of her cooking that Deven brought with him during his traineeship, and she is a fantastic cook. So thank you everyone. Have a great weekend. We hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.